Hey guys, welcome back. This is James again. Today I'm going to be exploring making the video I should have made before I made the previous video. Um, this is a video on mockups. I just noticed that I missed the most important part for those of you who may want to uh, make your own mockups. I'm going to be doing this and exploring what you need to do, uh, the main process, and then I'll explore the various options, how to make various options, and then finally I'll give you some tips. So let's begin with the first process, and it's the cuts. So what I mean by cuts, uh, that means you're being with cuts, you're cutting out the image, right? Because we want to create a path for it. I'm going to use the magnetic lasso tool, and I'm just going to briefly show you, walk you through the process so that I don't make this video too long. So with the magnetic lasso tool, all you have to do is mark your starting point. Sorry about that. And when you make a mistake using the magnetic lasso tool, you just press backspace and it will do that for you. So we mark the beginning point, and then you just move your cursor roughly along the edges of the image that you want to cut out, right? So here, uh, don't mind about those parts which refuse to stick in, and then once you close, once you have a rough selection, you can come over down here and click uh, that temporary mask option. Once you click the temporary masking option, you can come over and get your brush tool by clicking B on your keyboard or selecting it from here, and just increase its radius using the bracket keys. Here you now have black and white. Black, it hides, so if I'm shading there, those places are not going to be shown. If I press X on my keyboard and it shows white, so white is going to be revealing the areas that I want to select in this selection that I'm making, right? So this is, so you go in and use those options and just make a rough selection right there. Once you're done with that, just come over here and check this option, and there you'll have your rough selection here made. So make sure you take your time to get all the edges right so that you don't face too many problems. Here I've already made some selections, uh, and this is what I'm going to be using. Once you have your selection here, you'll probably have like one layer, all right? So what you want to do, you just click on the layer, then you copy, Ctrl C, right? And then create a new layer, and then Ctrl V. Then you paste that layer onto the new layer, right? So you Ctrl C and then Ctrl V. So now you will have a layer on a transparent background, right? So here I don't need that layer because I already have this one. Okay, so it's the same thing. Now the next part you want to do is adjusting the values. Now if, for example, you want to make this shirt black, for example, then you'd add an adjustment layer, uh, a black and white adjustment layer, but we want to leave it with this color, and that's fine as well. So here we shall just add the levels. What the levels do is basically, in levels, this part, it makes the dark parts darker, so it like increases contrast, and then this part makes the light parts lighter, right? Or it introduces light in the shadows, so it introduces shadows in the light. Here I can put this adjustment layer up, and I'm going to clip it onto the transparent background layer by clicking Alt on my keyboard, and it brings that down arrow, and then I click in between those layers to clip them together, right? So now I have this, so I can, when I move, I'm only affecting that layer on top. The bottom one, what it does, uh, the dark, when you move this, the black knob down here, it reduces the shadows in the light, and this one uh, reduces the light in the shadows. It's kind of, can I say, confusing in the beginning, but with time you get the hang of it. So, but we're going to be concentrating on this upper one alone. So we're just increasing contrast. So what this will do, when we do this, it's going to, the parts that you see that are dark, right? The parts that are dark are essentially going to be um, displaced, because they're going to show like the images inside. It's like displaced in proportion to the light areas and the dark areas. So that's why we make these weird adjustments here, so to mark that this displacement here is going to be different from the displacement here, right? So when you're done with that, you now want to merge the two layers. So we have this layer, but before we merge this layer, let's make a copy of it, a duplicate. Ctrl J on your keyboard or Command J on a Mac, Ctrl J on a PC, and then just select both of them and Ctrl E to merge them. So now we have this layer that is merged. Okay. Now the next thing you want to do for that layer is to come to make sure that layer is selected, then come to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. So Gaussian blur, what that will do, it will kind of reduce those rough edges, uh, because without it, you'd find that sometimes you have a rough edge. So what we want to do is to reduce those rough edges. That's why we add a Gaussian blur. Now you can adjust these dimensions to whichever result works for you, but I'm going to leave it at around 0.8. Click OK. So once that is done, I'm going to turn off all these other layers and then remain with a transparent background, and then I'm going to save this file. So I'm going to go to File. So let me say Save As, right? Let me say um, Displacement. So I'm going to save it as arm displacement. Then click Save, right? So, and then I'm going to turn this off and then turn this one on, the original one, and I'm going to also save it differently. So I'm going to save it as original. Alright, click Save. Now, once you have your original and your arm, now this time to bring in, you can actually delete this layer, you don't need it now. But anyway, you're now going to bring in your graphic. Now I've just created something in Illustrator, just something to show you exactly what I'm doing. It's not important which graphic you have, it's the same rules apply. So I'm going to bring it into my original image here. So you do the same, you bring in your graphic, and then I'm going to scale it down. So now I can position it anywhere I want. Now this depends on what you want to achieve as well. So this is not going to be uh, based on any design, whatever we want. It's just to show you exactly what I'm doing. Again, I'm going to explain the same thing using this image. So if you don't understand, I'll repeat everything here. And click commit to the changes. Now here you see that it's just placed there, but you can see that this t-shirt is textured and stuff. So normally when you're printing on these t-shirts, this is going to take up the texture of the material and the displacement. So this is where we want to now go and begin adding in our displacement. Okay, so when you have your uh, image selected, so you just select your image and then go to filter, distort, displace, and then click OK. Now it will prompt you, it will bring up those displacement. Now we're going to um, use this part where we uh, saved. So I'm going to use the arm displacement, and you can see it's been displaced just like that. You see that it's been displaced according to the texture. Now it's taking up the texture of the image. Now the other thing you have to do is to bring up the blending options, or it's the layer styles, and under here, underlying layers, you click Alt on your keyboard and just drag the left half of that node there. And as you do that, you'll see you'll see that it's taking up that texture. The texture is even flowing within. It gives it the feel of like it's part of the cloth. And click OK. And now you have that. The next part we want to do is we can now begin bringing in various layer options, I mean color options, color variations. I'm going to bring this layer below here. Okay, so and I'm going to duplicate it, Control J. This is the transparent layer, by the way, because I'm just going to add color options, color variations. Now the first color variation, let me imagine I go to the solid color adjustment layer, click OK, and then I'm going to clip this layer onto the down layer, but let me first give it some random color, just like that. Then click OK and clip that onto the bottom layer, just like this. Now it's terrible right now, but don't worry, just come over here and change it to maybe overlay or soft light. So maybe you could change it. You can now see that when you change it to various color options, you'd see that it's changing effectively. Let me imagine that this is one color option. Now I want to create another color option, so I still have my layer here again. So let me just duplicate that just in case I need another color option, and then click solid color adjustment layer. So again, I'm going to just, let me first put that color there. Let me turn these off so that they don't distract you. And then I'm going to clip this mask onto the transparent background again, just like I did before, and then change it to soft light. Alright, so now why am I doing this? In case, for example, you want to see various color options, you could decide that now I want to see this red, now I want to see this color that is like this, now I want to see the red color, now I want to see green. But again, if you have very many color options, it may get confusing. So what you do with that, you come over here to the layer comps. If you don't see your layer comps here, you go to Windows and make sure you click here on layer comps, window layer comps, and then you'll find the option here. So how this works is, for example, let's create a base color. So let's turn all of these off. So for example, this is our base color right here. So this is the original. So you come create layer comp just as you create a new layer, and let's call this original. So call that original and click OK. And now next we turn on another layer. Let's say green. Say green version. So let's create the green version. Next we turn off the green layer and turn on the red version now. So let's say red. Okay. So you can create as many options as you want. And after that, after creating all those options, you can now just come over here to the layer options and just say, let me see how the original looks like, how the green looks like, and how the red looks like. So you can work with those options and change them quickly, other than just coming here and then clicking these and turning them off to see various options, which can get confusing, right? That's so. Let me explain this one more time again with this option. This the man here. I'm just going to unlock the layer. I'm going to do this from pretty much the start. Again, I'm going to get my magnetic lasso tool, and this part I will fast forward because again, you know exactly what to do. Then I'm going to create a new layer, and with this bottom layer selected, I'm going to press copy and then paste here so that I have the t-shirt alone. Let me duplicate this layer by Ctrl J just in case. Now the next part I'm going to do is add a levels adjustment layer just to define out my highlights and my shadows, because it's going to help me in displacing this image. So the next part, I'm going to click both of these layers and merge them, and just blur those pixels a little bit. Gaussian blur, just give them that subtle radius, and after that, I'm going to save this layer as save as. So I'm going to save it as t-shirt, maybe first, whatever. I'm going to save it t-shirt displacement, and let me now save this one as t-shirt original. Now this one kind of is not important now. What's important is now this one here. Let's duplicate that layer. Okay, so we are all we're doing is keeping a layer of the transparent. That's why I'm keeping on duplicating now. So here now you have this layer, and what you want to do is you want to bring in our graphic. Now you can use this one. So I'm making this as big as possible just for demonstration purposes. So here, so we can change this graphic. We can call it graphic. So now you can see that it's bare, it's plain here. It's plain here, it's just simple. But you could, now what you have to do is make sure it's selected and then come over here to filter, distort, displace, okay. Change it to t-shirt displace. So you see that it's displaced a little bit. So the next part you want to do after that, you want to click and bring up its layer styles. So it's with its layer styles brought up, you want to click this Alt on your keyboard and just click the half there to bring up those values there. Just squash it just like that. Okay. So you see that when you move it around, so here it looks kind of alright, and say create. Okay, so once that is done, you'll see, if you look closely, you see it has those creases, and because it's reacting to the shadows and the highlights. The next part that you would do is to create variations of your own. Let's imagine we want a different color. We're going to add a solid color adjustment layer. So we come here, add the solid color adjustment layer. Let's Just give it that for clarity and stuff. And clip it to this. Let's alt on your keyboard and click in between. Now you will see that it's kind of funny. Just change the blending mode to any color you want. And now what you can do is you can click that color and adjust it just like that. Okay. And you can create various variations as well. Okay, so you can solid color adjustment layer. Let's say click red here, which brings up that red. Clip it to the bottom one. Let's first turn off this so we can see what we are doing. This as well. Turn on those ones. Now clip it. It's clipped to this one. That's alright. And then change the blending mode. You can change it even to overlay, whatever you want. So whichever one works for you. So I normally leave it at soft light, and you can see now how displaced it is. And you can now decide to change maybe the saturation values of the t-shirt, and you have some interesting details there. Okay, so all in all, what you want to do is you just keep experimenting. Now here we've created some variations. We can now come and name them. For example, when all of them are turned off, so we just come here and say blue. Then we turn that off, turn the red one on, then say reddish brown. It's reddish brown, but it doesn't matter. Then turn this one, another one on. You can actually change this color, but make sure that once you change the colors, you are sure of what you're doing. Give it like, once you change the colors on one layer style, you will have to change it again and again. So okay, so then here we'll have the green. So here we have the blue, we have the reddish one, and we have the green. Try exploring various options. You can use shopping sites, you can use, and there are very many different ways. Try different markups to see which results you get for each. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video at this, and I hope you found value. Let me know, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Take care.